All right, let's get right into it. Today, we are talking about a new technical framework called Forerunner. And it's built to do one thing, and one thing only, to finally cut through all the noise and put an end to greenwashing in the energy sector. This isn't just another app or some new policy proposal. No, this is about fundamentally changing how we measure what's real. And this quote from the source material, man, it just perfectly sets the stage. It paints this picture of a system that isn't just accidentally broken, but is, maybe intentionally misleading. It calls it a theater, where the performance of looking green is way more important than actually being green. And that right there, that's the core problem Forerunner is designed to dismantle. So that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? If we can't trust the numbers we're being shown, if it's all just for show, how in the world do we get to what actually happened? How do we find the ground truth in a system that might be built on illusion? Well, that is exactly what we're going to unpack. To really get why the solution is so clever, we first have to get our heads around the problem. And it is a big one. We're talking about a genuine crisis of credibility that's actively holding back the real energy transition. Okay, here it is. This is the heart of the issue. Right now, the whole system runs on models, projections, and what the source calls these convenient assumptions. So when something goes wrong, when clean energy gets wasted, it's not treated like a measurable fact. Instead, it becomes arguable. Companies can just hide behind these super complex simulations, and it becomes almost impossible to hold anyone accountable for what actually happens in the real world. And that leads us to this fundamental clash. It's really a battle between two totally different ways of thinking about energy data. This is the huge paradigm shift that Forerunner is trying to kickstart. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. We're trying to move away from the old way, which is basically flying blind with a bunch of theoretical models and educated guesses, to a new way that demands physical proof. It's a massive shift from relying on projections of what should have happened to creating a final settled record of what actually did happen based on real-world data. This table really breaks down where the rubber meets the road. Look at this. The foundation shifts from fuzzy modeling to hard physical evidence. Visibility changes so that wasted energy is no longer just invisible, it's an observed fact. And this is huge. Verification moves from self-reported PR spin to neutral third-party certification. It is a complete and total overhaul of the system. So the big question is, how does Forerunner actually pull this off? Well, it's not just one single piece of tech. It's a really smart, coordinated system. An elegant three-layer solution that's designed to build a record of reality that is simply undeniable. And here's the entire concept in a nutshell. It's just a beautiful metaphor, really. First, you have the witness, whose only job is to observe physical reality. Then, the judge comes in to review all that evidence and issue a final, unchangeable verdict on the facts. And finally, the sink puts that certified outcome to use, which provides the ultimate proof that it was real. Witness, judge, sink. Simple, powerful, and honestly really easy to remember.
Okay, so let's peel back those layers and see how this thing is built. We're going to break down the mechanics of each part of this framework, and we'll start at the very foundation, the witness.
So, this first layer is called Physical Evidence Integration, or PEI. This is our witness, and its job is to completely ignore the easily manipulated data about electricity flow. Instead, it focuses only on the physical assets themselves. Was a battery actually plugged in and available? Was a generator physically ready to run? It's capturing the ground truth that no amount of clever software can hide. And what's really cool is that the witness doesn't need a ton of complex data. It records 3 simple, hard-to-fake facts using things like RFID tags. Where is the asset physically located? For how long was it in a certain state? And the big one, was it physically ready to do its job? That's it. This creates a really honest audit trail of what was possible, not just what was reported. All right, next up is the judge. This is the Energy Finalization Interface, or EFI. Now, the key phrase here is read only. This is so important. The judge doesn't try to control the grid or interfere with operations at all. It simply observes everything after the fact, post hoc, and then issues a completely neutral verdict on what really happened. This design is brilliant because it removes any excuse for utilities to not want to participate. And it does this through a super rigorous 5-step process. First, it just observes the normal grid data. Then, it integrates that physical evidence from the witness. After applying a set of clear, transparent rules, it issues the final, unchangeable record for a specific block of time. There is just no room left for ambiguity. And the output of that entire process, it's this one thing, the Energy Finalization Unit, or EFU. You can think of it as a single, settled unit of truth. It is not an estimate, it's not a credit you can trade. It's a finalized, unchangeable record that says, hey, this much clean energy was available, it went unused, and that opportunity is now officially closed, period.
This slide is so important because it gets to the heart of why the EFU is such a game changer. You see, unlike a renewable energy credit, which is basically a speculative asset that can be traded and is notoriously prone to double counting, an EFU is a non-tradable fact. It's not a market tool, it's an audit tool. It's the ultimate defense against the kind of creative accounting that really defines greenwashing.
Okay, so we've witnessed reality and we've judged the facts. Now we just need the final piece of the puzzle, the sink. This layer, which is called ether mined, takes that certified surplus energy, the EFUs, and puts it to real, irreversible work. Think things like powering complex AI models or scientific simulations. It provides the absolute final proof of utility. Ethermine's design is just genius because of how it avoids messing with the energy market. It follows 3 super strict rules. 1, it only turns on after it receives a finalized EFU. That means the energy has already been declared as surplus. 2, it performs work that can't be undone. And 3, it spits out a cryptographic receipt as proof. So here's the key takeaway. It never signals new demand to the grid. It only ever cleans up the waste. All right, so we've got the witness, the judge, and the sink. Let's pull back a little and look at what this whole thing actually means in the real world. Because this isn't just some technical exercise. It's a tool for real strategic change. And the applications are immediate and powerful. This system gives NGOs and regulators undeniable data to challenge corporate greenwashing claims. It creates a trustworthy, auditable accounting system for things like green hydrogen production. It can finally settle those endless disputes over wasted wind and solar power with facts, not arguments. And for small community microgrids, it provides the hard evidence they need to get funding and expand. This right here, this is the single most revolutionary idea in the whole framework. It turns out you don't actually need to control the grid to create accountability. You just need the ability to observe it honestly. By decoupling observation from control, you totally disarm the opposition and empower neutral, factual oversight. It is an absolute game changer. And really, this quote just sums up the entire philosophy, doesn't it? The energy transition has been stalled for years because of a fundamental lack of trust and truth. Forerunner makes the case that the path forward isn't more complicated models or better incentives, but a solid, unshakable foundation of verifiable, undeniable facts. And that leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. Forerunner was designed for the energy sector, but this core principle is universal. Just think about it. What other complex systems, from global supply chains to public finance, could be totally transformed if we had a framework for making reality undeniable? What else could we build on a foundation of pure, simple truth?